It's been a busy few weeks on Capitol Hill, from celebrating America's 250th to Congressman Tom Kean Jr. returning to the House floor after a more than 3-month absence, revealing that a depression diagnosis kept him away. Meanwhile, the U.S. Supreme Court released a number of landmark decisions, including upholding birthright citizenship, the law that guarantees that any person born on U.S. soil is a citizen. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Ben Hulac joins us now to discuss. Ben, great to see you. We are all still, I think, processing this decision that was very long awaited from the Supreme Court. Came out in the last day of the term, Trump versus Barbara. Just put into context the impact of this decision that came out last week.
It really, it's in many ways a story of what might have happened if the court had ruled in the other direction and had upended or tightened birthright citizenship in this country. That would have upended centuries of American existence. Essentially, this is how the country's always worked. That people born on U.S. soil are U.S. citizens. So this ruling was for advocates, for people in immigration limbo, was a sigh of relief, a massive sigh of relief. And if things had gone the other way, there would have been, to be frank, no one was really sure how the U.S. would operate in a world where people who were born in the U.S. weren't automatically granted citizenship. I interviewed Matt Platkin on the steps of the Supreme Court earlier last year in a related case, and he said, this was an example he used a lot, the former Attorney General, but he said, so are children born in one state that recognizes birthright citizenship going to be in a different category, different class effectively, legally, than children born in a state that doesn't recognize birthright citizenship? There could have been this hodgepodge of legal definitions, utterly confusing. So right now, it's back to status quo, and that's really the main takeaway.
Of course, the president, in a very unusual move, sat in on the oral arguments of this case. I don't think that that's ever happened before. He's clearly very unhappy with the ruling. He said it was too bad for our country. What are his next moves? What options does he have now if he wants to still change this precedent set in the 14th Amendment of our Constitution?
This was really his one main move, and you're right. He became the first sitting president to attend oral arguments at the Supreme Court. This has been a clarion call for him and some of his ardent followers to end birthright citizenship. They view it as a threat to really the future of the country, and there are all sorts of racial and nationalistic overtones to that. But as it stands for next moves, the president really doesn't have many. The main move would be to amend the Constitution, and that is incredibly difficult. That requires supermajority votes in both chambers of Congress and then 3/4 of all states to ratify what Congress has passed. So that's effectively impossible at this point. That simply won't happen. He did demand Congress take up this issue and skirt this constitutional amendment process. That's not how this works. This is really a dead end for Mr. Trump.
I want to look at just quickly how the judges decided. This was a 6-3 decision. Can you just lay that out for us, and who
Yeah, so the 6-3, the in general sort of parlance, Supreme Court wise, there are 6 right-leaning justices, conservative justices, and 3 liberals. So if you're in the liberal bloc of voters, it can be difficult to get fellow judges to sign on to decisions you want finalized. The 6-3 majority, though, was cobbled together with the 3 liberals. So that's Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor, and
Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Thank you very much, Joe Biden's appointee. And then John Roberts, Chief Justice, led the decision along with Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. Those are your 6. I think it's interesting, at least for New Jersey viewers, readers, listeners, that Samuel Alito dissented. He's a son of New Jersey, was born in the state, and has become this ardent right-wing anchor
Yeah.
of the Supreme Court.
And he, of
Also a son
course,
of
called it he of course called it a serious mistake. I'm not happy with the decision. I want to, just in the time that we have left, turn and look at Congressman Tom Kean Jr., who made a reappearance last week on the House floor. He came out and said that he has been struggling with depression, that is the reason for his extended leave. Any indication right now that he's going to be more willing to talk to press now that he's back, to be sharing this story?
no indication of that. In fact, after he gave his remarks, which probably were 5 minutes max, he avoided, I would say, 30, 40 reporters who had all waited for him to break the silence that he's held for nearly 4 months about his condition and his history. He avoided all of us. A few reporters snagged him as he left, but he didn't say a word. That's his typical MO. So no, he is not talking, which is standard for him, of course. And I
He
think
did
campaign
then.
wise,
Yeah, well, speaking of the campaign, he held a fundraiser that same night, Tuesday night. Is there anything you can tell us about how that went? Who showed up for him? Is he going to be back raising money as strongly as he has been in the past?
I don't know about what his fundraising might look like in the future. Our colleague Colleen O'Day did talk to his finance chair for his campaign, who said a few weeks ago they've had effectively no problems raising money for Mr. Kean. I think the wrinkle here is now it's really crunch time for campaign season. Congress will be gone basically all of August, much of July, and then all of October in the run up to the midterms. This is the one seat where it's really going to be a dogfight in New Jersey congressional races, New Jersey House races. Mr. Kean trying to hold on, and then Rebecca Bennett trying to knock him off his post.
Yeah.
But this is the period of time when the public wants to hear from their elected officials. And Congressman Kean, he hasn't spoken in months. Maybe he'll speak a little bit more on the campaign trail, but he has coasted really to re-election without a whole
Yeah.
lot of public interaction.
We will keep following it. I know you will be also. Ben Hulac for us down in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks.